Okay, so as somebody who's taller, I'm used to having to change my handlebars or lift them up. That's standard for me. And on my 450L, I actually put my first ever tall seat on that bike, and I really enjoy that. So then when I picked up this V-Strom 650, one of the things I noticed right away was that the foot pegs are higher than I'm used to. And I've kind of gotten used to it, but my knees, they just don't like the angle that much. So since my bike came with a nice seat, I was kind of leaning towards leaving it alone and doing foot pegs first. But then I realized Adventure Tech sold a kit that not only lowered the foot pegs, but it relocates the gear shifter further out. And that addresses one of my biggest complaints about this bike. So I ride with Alpinestar boots. They go over my pants, easy. But with this gear shifter, they were not comfortable to start with. And I kind of played with the height and got that squared away. So I got the gear shifter set about as high as I was comfortable with so that those thicker boots could still slide under. So once I knew I could get my foot pegs lowered, help my knees out, and get this shifter bumped further forward, which I'm used to, I knew this was the way to go. So I thought today, let's get these installed here, and then we'll see how much better they feel, and we'll go for a quick ride and just see what it feels like with the boots shifting in motion, just see if I'm overall more comfortable. Okay, open the garage door to get some more light in here, but the first thing we want to do is get this little, what do you call these, a C-clip off. So we'll just get in here, don't squeeze it off any harder than you need to, and that's off. And the washer behind it, we're gonna slide the gear shift off. Now the reason I did this right now is we wanna get this off here while it's still mounted to the bike. And there's some grease down here too. Okay, we'll get that off. Okay, and so inside of the package, you receive 2 plates and some screws. I can tell you right now, this is for the brake side. This is for the clutch side. So I'm gonna get that open. We're gonna take this piece that came in that kit, and then we're gonna take the gear shifter piece we took out, and that is going to thread into here. Now they advise for you though to use blue Loctite. So I'm gonna get some Loctite in those threads first. I'm gonna use more than you need to because mine's a little old, so hopefully it still worked. So here's what makes this kit so great. It's not so much the lowering the controls. Like I said, it's this right here. And so these plate adapters right here let you pick different shoe sizes. Now they've pretty much said if you're 10 to 13, you're not gonna be needing the biggest sizes. So I gotta look at which orientation this goes. And so we're gonna go and just start right here, and if I don't like it, I can always change it later. So it came with 3 screws, and so you're gonna thread those in from behind. So they come in from behind, and again, use blue Loctite. But then once you get those threaded on, you can get this pretty tight. So I'm gonna go ahead off camera, get those tightened on here, and then we'll just show you the highlights of getting this hooked back up. So what I did is I took the screw out of the shifter right here, because as you can see, the shifter's out of shot, right? So we take this off, and also down here, you can loosen these 2 nuts. They spin opposite directions, but by loosening those, you can now spin this to increase or decrease the length of the shaft. But you can already tell, because it has a different pivot point down here, look at the distance we've gained on here, which is gonna be great for my boot. I'm excited for this. So while I was off camera, I gained a helper. I'll be lucky if all my tools are back later. You have to order the plate to match your shoe size. So off camera, I took this off and just moved it all the way forward since I'm a 13, because I ordered the kit for shoe size 10 to 13. So I just figured, okay, move it all the way forward. I also tightened this down and put some fresh grease underneath so you can see the excess Loctite and everything. So as you're lining this back up for where it's gonna go, pay attention that when you push down, it's actually doing an up motion in a conventional standpoint. So we want to be reverse. If you put this arm in the wrong spot, your shifting patterns are gonna be backwards. So if we screwed that in all the way, so that's in all the way, you can see it's too high. That's way too high. So I'm gonna take this off real quick. And if we wanted it lower, let me go throw my boots on and give that a shot. It's hitting my foot better. Actually, Jax, I need that a little lower, I think. Okay, I think for the sake of moving forward, I'm pretty happy with this as a starting point. You'd think I could remember where I had it up or down, but with it being further out, it's a little different. But I think this is the spline point I want to keep because I've got good adjustability range right here. That is drastically further away than it was before. Much better. But I'm just happy with the fact now I've got plenty of adjustability. I've now got my pegs lower and I've got the distance. Much, much happier. Okay, so now on the brake side, we've got pretty much the same process as before. So we're gonna take these two bolts off and we're gonna mount the pegs with the bolts they gave. So they include an extension kit right here. You'll need that. This is what goes off to the master cylinder. I broke this free while it's still on the bike. So then over here, we have the cable that sends the signal to your taillights and everything that you've engaged the brake. And so this on here, as we go to drop it, you might have to like cut a pull tie under the seat, I've heard, to get this longer. And then the other thing you can do over here, because you saw me struggling not remembering where my brake shifter was, if you want to keep your levers the same over here, you just take a quick measurement approximately where you were at before. And so that's about a 1/2 inch for me. My brake lever is about a 1/2 inch off level is what I can adjust it back to. And also on here, there is like a cotter pin back behind here. You got to take that off too. But what I'm going to do right now is just get this off, take the cotter pin off, and then we'll get the bracket going. Okay, quick commentary on the brake. I'm going to show you guys a picture of where I ended up putting the nuts. I ended up having to put it further in than before to get the brake lever 1/2 inch past level. And then on the electrical cable, that nut, I was able to spin that up to let it go further down, and it clicked without having to loosen any wires under the seat. And then I turned the key on and tested it to make sure I wasn't pulling on the brake light. So be careful to make sure that your brake light's functioning correctly. Now that I got the foot pegs lowered, everything installed, it's not drastic. It's not a drastic difference, but I can tell that my knee is now lower. In fact, this feels a lot more relaxed. I kind of quit chasing my handlebar position until I got this done because everything's kind of all related. So I think the only way to really tell from here is to go for a ride. Nobody's around me, so I'm going to slow down here for wind noise. Immediate difference in comfort. I like that an awful lot. Yeah, ergonomics, definitely a personal preference, and you know, do what's gonna suit you. But here, I'll stand up and see that by having my foot pegs lower, now my arms are closer to the bars, and by my arms being closer to the bars, I'm not bending over as far, which greatly improves my comfort as well. Now, something else I noticed actually as we were pulling out is if I shift around, I'm actually clicking through the gears easier than I was before we did this. So if we go back to the start of the video, if I look at one of those frames, I had that leverage of the shifter kind of high because I wanted the shifter itself high to fit with my boot. Well, now if you looked at the way we picked our final position, that lever's rocking at a perfectly 90-degree angle. So the amount of effort it's actually taking to shift is next to nothing compared to what it was before. Oh, there's a deer out in the road. Let's go buzz the deer. Well, at least you're not jumping. Oh, now you're scared. Now you're scared. Because that leverage is at 90 degrees, these shifts are going through like nothing, like butter. Let's use that old phrase, right? Everything is just clicking through so easy because it's not taking hardly any effort. So that's a marked improvement I wasn't expecting there.
This isn't a sport bike, nor am I going to try to treat it like a sport bike, so I don't think I have to worry about scraping. So anyways, that's a fantastic mod, 100%. Do it again. I think even if I was shorter than 6'3", I would have gone after this. So if you guys got a V-Strom 650 or 1000 and you've been feeling a little cramped, this is the way to go. So thanks for watching the video, and be sure to keep on riding. For how hard I ride, this is pretty much my peg scrape test. We didn't scrape, so I'm happy. It's good enough for me.